Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is MSA if you're new. So I'm continuing on with my Ankara Inspired Makeup looks. This is look number 6. You can see the fabric has got a lot of oranges and gold, so that's what I used to create this look. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to create this makeup look. So starting off with my eyes, I've already prepped my upper eyelids with some concealer, and then I've set it with translucent powder so that it doesn't budge. And then I'm using just simple sellotape. I'm putting that on the back of my hand just to remove that initial tackiness. Then I'm putting it on the outer corners of my eyes because we're going to create a wing using eyeshadows, and this just acts as a guard. The palette I'm going to be using mostly today is the MORPHE Fierce by Nature palette. I'm starting off with that light coral shade and a MAC 217 brush. I'm using that color as my transition shade just to define the inner half of my upper eyelid. And then I'm using a brighter orange shade and a small Morphe brush and just putting that slightly below that coral shade, and that just intensifies the colors and adds a bit more dimension to my eyes. And then I'm using a MAC 224 brush to blend the two colors together and just to get rid of any harsh lines. And then I'm going back in with that orange shade, but I'm mixing it with a little bit of red. I'm using a slightly smaller brush and putting that again slightly below those two colors. And again, it just deepens that area, creates a little bit more dimension. And back in again with the 224 brush to blend it all in together. The next step is to cut the crease, and I'm just using a bit of concealer and a flat shaded brush to do this. And I'm also just dragging that concealer onto the rest of my upper eyelid just to blend it out a bit more. And I like to use my fingers on the edge of the concealer. Then I'm using a banana shade from the HINDASH BEAUTOPSY palette. I'm applying it with a flat shader brush on the areas where I put that concealer to cut my crease. And I'm also putting it all over my upper eyelid, and that will just create a nice uniform color. Then I'm using the AINA palette, and there's this color called Trust Issues. It's a duochrome, so it looks white, but it's got lots of gold flecks in it. And I put it on a little tray, added a bit of Duraline, which is a mixing media, and basically I just created a liquid eyeliner. And I'm using a MAC 210 brush to further define that half cut crease. Now this is a tricky step, to be honest. I wasn't so happy with how the line turned out because you really need a very steady hand. So I highly recommend that you rest your elbows on a table. So that's why I was so crouched down. So just to cover up my mistakes, I decided to add more of the eyeshadow, and I just applied it with a very, very small shader brush. And I'm sort of feathering that onto the rest of my upper eyelid. So it's a nice little way to cover up any mistakes, just turning lemon into fine lemonade. Okay, so I'm now going to create the wing, and I'm using the red and the orange shades. And I'm pretty much just going to do the reverse of what I did in the inner part of my upper eyelid. So this is really like an ombre wing. So I'm going in with the orange shade, putting that on top of the first shade I put down. And then I'm using that light coral shade and a small shader brush, and I'm just going to use that to buff out the top edge of the wing that I've created. Then I'm going back in with that banana shade and just a flat shader brush, and I'm using this color just to diffuse to diffuse, I think that's the right word, just so that that top edge of that wing isn't so harsh. Now I'm lining my eyes using the Inglot One Move liquid eyeliner. I'm trying not to take that winged line too high because otherwise you're going to lose the color that I've just put down. And the nice thing about having the sellotape there is that it helps to create a really sharp wing tip. Then I'm putting on my lashes. I will put all the product details down below, so check it out after you watch the video. Just pinching the falsies with my real lashes so that they blend well together. Now it's time to remove the tape, and this is why you want to take off that initial tackiness, because otherwise you'll be taking off the top layer of your skin, and that is not very comfortable. So I went off camera to do my foundation routine. So face is all done, and we're going to move on to finish the lower lash line now. I'm using a medium brown shade and a small fluffy brush just to define the lower lash line. I don't really like leaving my lower lash line bare just because I just think it looks better on me and it covers up my fine lines. And I'm lining my waterline with a black kohl pencil by Inglot, and I like to use my beauty blender just to pull down my lower eyelid. This way it doesn't mess up the foundation underneath. Now I'm using the same liquid eyeliner I created to further accentuate my wing tip. And I'm also putting the same liner on my lower inner tear duct as well. Time for mascara. I'm using my trusty L'Oreal Telescopic. I can't seem to stop doing my mascara face. Even though it probably doesn't make it any easier to apply it, I still do it. Then for my upper lashes, I'm using a false eyelash applicator, and I just dab the mascara onto my upper eyelids and blend them in with the falsies. Moving on to the face, I'm just going to highlight with my Maybelline Gold Highlighter, just putting some on the bridge of my nose and on my Cupid's bow. And I just removed the excess moisture on my lips before going in with a lip pencil. This is by KIKO. It is discontinued, but any orangey red lip liner will do. Then the lipstick I used was called Forward by MORPHE. I'll be honest, I love the color, but it is quite a patchy lipstick, so I wasn't so happy with how it applied. Then I went in with a darker red lip pencil by MAC, just on the outer corners of my lips to accentuate them a bit more, and this just creates an ombre lip and gives a bit more dimension as well. Then onto my blush, I'm using a bronzer by Fenty called Mocha Mami. I love that it just warms up my skin, but it's not overpowering because there is a lot of color on my face. And then I wanted to put a bit more highlighter on my inner tear ducts because I just wasn't happy with how they looked, but I realized the brush I was using was just too big, so I went in with a small, this is a fine detailer brush by Real Techniques, and I just applied the highlighter so much better. So the look was finished. I was just fluffing up my hair because, believe it or not, my afro got a little bit flat. It is quite a big afro wig. I absolutely love it. It's very retro. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.